Welcome back, hard forkers, to what has been a very intermittent show. I will put my hand up and admit apologies there. We've had a lot happening here lately, haven't we, Baloo, with the Thai New Year, people's 50th birthdays, weddings.
A lot going on.
A hell of a lot going on. On that note, it's also been record-setting temperatures here. We had 54 degrees in Bangkok the other day, over 51 degrees where I am. My home country has obviously experienced a huge amount of weather disruption as well. So one of the things we will talk about after looking at the charts is a World Economic Forum paper that's just come out talking about blockchain and crypto. So first half of the show, we're going to be looking at the charts with Baloo, and then we're going to have a bit of a general chat on news that's coming thick and fast at the moment, and all very relevant to your lives. So hang in there for that in the second half of the show. But let's kick it off, Baloo, with the charts. There's been plenty of action, including a 7% movement of Bitcoin in the space of an hour the other day. I know you don't really look at the news, but there's reports it was an outfit called Arkham that are a chain analytics firm, had put out a statement that got picked up by some YouTubers. Basically, the gist of it was that the US government, which is, believe it or not, the third biggest holder of Bitcoin, had in fact started to sell its Silk Road coins. That turned out not to be true. It was a 19-cent transaction. But there you go. Welcome to the world of crypto YouTube and how it can, in fact, move prices around. So let's get back to the real deal, the charts. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I kind of keep things pretty simple. If we take a look at the price of Bitcoin here, I'm on the 3-day chart. It's kind of in between the daily and the weekly. It's a chart that I like to reference often. We're retesting kind of a level here. We did break below the 7 moving average, and we did bearish test underneath of that. So we do need to get back on top of this at a price of 28,900, which I don't think is unachievable. I think, overall the trend is up. We are making higher highs and higher lows. All of my moving averages are in bullish alignment. My bull market indicator is green. I assume higher levels. The day-to-day volatility is increasing. And when we go down to the smaller time frames here, that liquidity event that you just spoke about, that speculative selling of Silk Road tokens, we rallied pretty hard and we smacked back down. This could be a number of factors, but what we have called this in the past, or what we used to call it in bear market conditions, was kind of a Darth Maul candle. So, for those who are new, you might not have heard this term before or may not fully understand what it means. But basically what a Darth Maul candle is let me get my pen tool out. It's when you have a candle body close, a candle body that's very small, and you got these big, massive wicks here, both sides. So to me, this is the exchanges wanting to hunt for liquidity. They are trying to shake off all of the leverage that's in the system. So you have a lot of people that are long, you have a lot of people that are short. The exchanges see that, they trade against their customers, and you get a huge amount of volatility as both long and shorts get liquidated. I don't know the narrative that's going on as far as, the reason that this happened. But what I can say is this is a characteristic that you will typically see as a precursor to a larger move. My bias is bullish. My bias is that the larger move will be up, but it can be a larger move either way. The important thing is that the exchanges have shaken out all of the high amounts of leverage, because leverage to them is a liability. They don't want somebody going 100x long and then they, it takes off in the correct direction, and now they're on the hook for this very large position. It's a liability to them. So they're incentivized to shake out this degenerate behavior. They're incentivized to get that off of the books so that the spot markets can continue. And my assumption, like I've said, is higher levels. Now, invalidation for me would be right around 20. Any break below this level is kind of where I think the trend can at least go to neutral. for me, I'll be closing any of my leveraged long positions if we get a breakdown below that level. But until we get below 25.7, until we get it below 25.7, I have no reason to do anything. I've been in my longs since 18K. I'm going to hold my longs until I have a reason to flip my bias.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the indicators you use and what you're currently working on as well, because as of next week, what I'm going to start doing is showing a couple of trades that I've been in. I'm also going to start trading, maybe doing some live trades actually with you, Blue. But I've been using a company called Sequence, which is an algo trader. I've got two different strategies set up there. I've had them running for a number of months now, and sort of backtesting data from about 3 years with these guys. So I want to start sharing that with the audience from next week. But I also know that you're working on an indicator with another friend, Matt. Maybe tell us a bit about how you, what metrics you use, what you think people should be looking at. What are the key things for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Matt, the creator of the indicator that I'm using here, it's called alphanumerics. It's a combination of a moving average array, which is a very standard trading strategy. There are several different styles of these moving average arrays, whether it's the 21 moving average and the 50 and the 100. There's hundreds of different variations of those three moving averages. We use the 7, the 30, and the 50. In combination with our kind of bull market, bear market indicator that just looks at momentum and looks at it's like a high time frame momentum shift indicator, so that we know that when the wave is green, it's advantageous for us to take the bullish signals, and when the wave is red, it's advantageous for us to take the bearish signals. But this can be replicated with any moving average strategy. If you just Google, or if you're on YouTube and you click in 3 moving average strategy, you can get the gist of it. But what we're looking at is a way to eliminate bias. When you look at price, you can see bearish divergences, you can see, a breaking of structure, or you get a big pump and then a wick down. Like, there's a lot of urgency not urgency, there's a lot of emotionally charged energy that can come into looking at the smaller time frames and looking at these candles. But the performance of the asset can be really, really smoothed out when you look at just a moving average. Don't look at the day-to-day, look at the weekly price, look at the weekly averaged price, look at the monthly averaged price. And that's a really good thing that moving averages can do for you. So you can really take it to the next level if you really want to turn down your emotions and just turn off price, just look at moving averages. That can really, price is quite volatile in the crypto market. So if you're the type that gets, excited easily with the price, get the price out of your vision and just look at the performance. You can see here, just based off of the moving averages, when the 7 is below the 30, which is below the 50, that's bearish alignment. We have bearish momentum here. It doesn't matter what the price is doing. It's ugly. It's shitty. You shouldn't be long. You should be short, if anything. It's very ugly. And then when it flips back over to bullish alignment, we're bullish. So just chill, get long, wait for that momentum to shift back down to the bearish side. Day-to-day price action in cryptocurrency markets can really chop you to shreds. So that's kind of what I look for in strategies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's multiple ways to trade. My typical style in the past were trades that were a matter of hours. Jumping on the bandwagon in and out. I also, I still trade like that now and again, but for me, I'm putting a percentage into these algo strategies, two different ones, as I say, which I'll share with the audience next week. There's a link below if you want to check out the what I'm actually using there as well. So if you've got any questions before the next show, you can throw them across to us. Link below to that. So, yeah, any other sort of key charts specifically for Bitcoin you want to show us today, Blue?
Yeah, so for Bitcoin, Bitcoin's ruling the show right now. The asset to pay attention is Bitcoin. It's also lining up with the narratives that we're seeing. We're seeing a decoupling from Bitcoin and traditional finance. The traditional measure of traditional finance is the S&P 500. You can see that we've been on a downtick with the S&P while Bitcoin's been on an uptick. So there's a little bit of a decorrelation happening, and this is falling in line with kind of bank failure narratives. Now, Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against malfeasance of government. It's a hedge against, it's a place to put capital when you don't have many places to trust putting capital in. So with bank failures, it's very nice to see that Bitcoin is kind of taking that role of a decorrelated outsider asset and rallying as a result of that. Now, how does that translate into altcoins? I know a lot of the people who watch these videos on YouTube are very, focused on, well, how do I get these performance out of altcoins? And what I can say is altcoin performance thus far has been very lackluster. It's been very slow, and it's always been, Bitcoin would rally up and then the altcoins would wait and be like, okay, I guess it's safe for us to rally. And then it would rally a little bit and then Bitcoin would move down and they would move down really aggressively. So we have not been in an altcoin season. This is not altcoin season. I think if we get another impulse to the upside with Bitcoin, let's say we get an impulse up to somewhere around this level, anywhere from 40 to 50K. If we get an impulse up to that level, then we're going to see altcoins follow, and they may even begin to outperform. But as it stands right now at this current resistance point that we're sitting at right here, this is a pretty heavy duty resistance that we're under right now. I think that the altcoins are not going to perform. But one chart that can help you be less biased towards the performance is taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Much in the way that we use moving averages to eliminate bias and to smooth out emotion, you can use Bitcoin dominance as a way to be objective towards the true performing asset. Now, this Bitcoin dominance has been in this kind of descending channel for a while here. Let me turn alphanumerics off. It's been trapped in this range for a while. When this is trending down, altcoins are performing very well. This right here, where we impulse to a new level, this is an altcoin season. This is when everybody got sucked in, April, May 2021. This was an incredibly powerful altcoin season. We're not in altcoin season. We are range bound. We are stuck. Every time we go to the top of the range and we fall to the downside, you can get a little mini alt cycle, but you're not getting this really exuberant altcoin season just yet. And as it stands right now, if we look at this area right here, we've actually broken out of the channel and we're needing to make a decision. So we are either going to rally out of this channel, and that would be very terrible for altcoins. That means that either Bitcoin is falling or Bitcoin is pumping and alts aren't doing anything. Or we need to turn around to the downside. Now, if we do get a rejection from this level and head to the downside, that is when altcoins are going to perform. Not before, not, right now they're barely performing. I know I'm in several altcoin trades and they're doing nothing compared to the Bitcoin trades. So until you get that momentum shift, until we start to head down, the altcoins are going to lag on Bitcoin. They're just not going to outperform. So adding that level of risk to your account should be worth it. You need to make sure that if you are in an altcoin, it's got to be worth it. So pay attention to the Bitcoin pairs, pay attention to Bitcoin dominance, and see if the decisions that you're making when you're buying these altcoins is the right decision.
Yeah. Yes. Look, staying on Bitcoin, we did a show a couple of weeks ago on an exchange called BISC. Look, I think a large part of the content that we're going to be making moving forward will center around how to purchase Bitcoin, how to self-custody it, reasons to have it. I hate to use the term Armageddon asset, but I think, obviously we can't give financial advice, but for me personally, my opinion It's just insane at this point, given the geopolitical issues that we've got, not to have some Bitcoin that is in your own custody. You know, we've had the US congressional hearings yesterday with Gary Gensler. If you're not familiar with who he is, he was the head of is the head of the SEC. He basically had to field questions from a number of US senators, and I would say it was probably a 50-50 split, with half of them really attacking him over his handling of the crypto space. The SEC, to put things in perspective, has 100% record of prosecution of crypto companies that they have gone after, and probably low-hanging fruit. But where the issue is here, he was pushed many, many times yesterday on whether or not Ethereum was a security or not. Now, coming back to Bitcoin, we know we've got case law there. We know the position on this, and the reality is that it can't be regulated at that level. That's the whole point of Bitcoin. So, look, I think, when we're talking about altcoins here, we're really still waiting on some clarity from the US, but listening to some of the bigger entrepreneurs in the world who aren't necessarily crypto people, their position is utter disgust, very disappointed at what the US is doing at the moment, effectively driving innovation into the hands, and their words, not mine, the Communist Party of China, who have launched a digital renminbi. Many of their working groups, many of their politicians have been beating the drum for a long time now that there needs to be clarity out of the SEC. It's a complete mess. Innovation is leaving the US in droves. US banks have been told they cannot custody crypto, which is, it's a major problem for a number of projects, and for the everyday investor who can't quite get their heads around wallets, etc. at the moment. So, look, all in all, they're quite clearly terrified of what's going on in crypto and see it as a real threat to the US dollar. Now, that should sort of open your eyes and ears up, that simple fact alone. But mixed signals here, people, because just in the last week, Deloitte, which is one of the big four accounting firms, has posted over 300 blockchain and crypto related jobs in the US. So what's going on here? I struggle to believe that the US is stupid enough to drive out an entire industry into effectively what is shaping up as its main competitor for many Americans. 50% of Americans now think China is a threat and an enemy, believe it or not, in a recent survey. The US has closed its doors to foreign investment. Anything to do with the federal project cannot be sourced outside of the US anymore. That is protectionism. China's doing the same. So, how does this all relate to Bitcoin? It's just that asset. It's one of those assets, and there's not many of them, that is in your control. The world is uncertain now. So, Bitcoin, whether you want to talk about inflation hedge or whatever, to me, I still question that. But as one of the only assets that's scarce, that you can actually own, you can control yourself in an uncertain world, Bitcoin, please subscribe to this channel. Watch as many others as you can. Learn about Bitcoin. Now's your time, believe me. The other interesting thing that's just happened, the World Economic Forum, and I'll put a link below to this. I strongly advise you to have a look at it, has just issued a white paper that talks about how blockchain and crypto can help solve climate change. And this is a very in-depth article. It lists all the different companies in the crypto space that are involved in these initiatives. I've actually been heavily involved in this for the last couple of months. So I'm fairly up on the play with what's coming there around ESG. These climate change initiatives that companies are going to have to adhere to, like it or not. And I do think a lot of it's going to be very onerous. I do think that blockchain is going to play a massive part in this. And it was amazing to see this this white paper just released by the World Economic Forum. As I say, link below. Go check that out if you're looking for investments in the blockchain and crypto space. Might be a few names in there that you want to do some further research into. So, look, Baloo, I've been rambling on here, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is very, very mixed signals coming out of the US at the moment. I think that's creating uncertainty. But as far as Bitcoin goes, it's kind of irrelevant, right? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, and it's because the regulators are both slow and clueless. And we are in a very fast-paced environment. If people don't start innovating, they're going to start stagnating. And these are tech entrepreneurs that are US based. They can't wait for regulations. They not like, oh, I can't wait. Like, no, they have to move forwards. They can't wait anymore. They got to make some moves here because we are falling behind. Well, I say we, I'm not actually American, but those who are based in America, they're falling behind on this opportunity for innovation.
Yeah.
So they have to take these steps to move forwards and build, shoot first, ask questions later. Let's figure this out. Let's get it to the point where the incentives to over-regulate from the US government are really going to start to hurt Americans and hurt companies. And I think it's great. You've had time to figure it out and you haven't figured it out. So let's just move forwards. And when you're ready with some regulation, let us know and we'll come and fight it.
Yeah.
It's good. I think it's a net positive thing for companies that are based in the US to just push forwards and worry about the regulations later. It's bold, and I think it's very Bitcoin, it's very crypto, and it's a good thing. I like to see it because they are losing control.
Look, I mean, my guess, and it is just a guess, is that the digital assets as a class will have some clarity in the very, very near future. As I say, the digital renminbi, a lot of people thought, okay, that's a Chinese central bank digital currency. No, it's a network. And, the think tanks that have written papers on this, presented these to Congress, said exactly the same thing recently. I've been talking about it for a number of months. Look, countries will plug in to China as their main player if there aren't options out of the US, including all of what's happening in crypto and blockchain. If it's over-regulated. So look, it's a difficult line for the US to be walking here, but they need to put some clarity around this sooner rather than later. It's exactly what you're just saying there. It's getting beyond a joke, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's go time. I mean, it's unstoppable and it's not stopping. It's moving forwards. So, you can't put it on pause. This is decentralized. It's global. It's a protocol innovation just as profound as the printing press or the internet itself. You got to move fast. It's moving fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, we'll keep it short and sweet on the fundamentals. I think that's going to be a separate show that we'll do, although I'll be prattling on about the fundamentals for most of this show. Any other charts you want to have a quick look at before we wrap it up today, Luke?
I think no. And the reason is just going back to what I was saying with the Bitcoin dominance chart. For those who are not in Bitcoin for whatever reason, and you're anticipating a move in altcoins, or you're waiting to allocate into altcoins, not financial advice but like technical advice, what I would be looking for in the charts is I would be looking for Bitcoin dominance to begin to fall. Once it begins to fall, then start looking at your portfolio allocation. But as it stands right now, we have an equal chance of rallying in Bitcoin dominance as we do in falling. We're right at a pivot point. So if we don't fall, we're going to rally. If we're rallying, get some Bitcoin. And that's pretty much it. That's the focus if you're an altcoin trader. And if you're a Bitcoin trader, congratulations. We've been having a good time.
Excellent. Okay, look, we'll keep it as short and sweet as possible for you today, people. We are going to be making more content moving forward now, as a lot of things have been happening sort of in our personal lives lately, but we're ready to roll again. And look, it just feels like the perfect time to be getting back into this market. I'm fascinated by what's going on. It's so relevant now to geopolitics, the lot. So lots to talk about moving forward, lots to educate you all on. So if you haven't subscribed, please do give it a like as well. All that good stuff. And we'll see you in the very, very near future. Thank you very much, Baloo. Links below to all of his content. Check out all the different media that he has. And I'll also put a link to Sequence if you want to have a look who they are. As I say, next week, we'll be looking at the performance of those algos. So exciting stuff, people. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers now.